All right, let's talk about what's actually on the darn test. The quant section covers 4 general content areas: arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis. Put this last one aside for just a second here and let me ask you this. How old were you by the time you had covered these 3 topics? I'm guessing maybe 14, 15, right? And yes, I realize it's been a while since high school and maybe your geometry teacher was awful and made you cry, blah, 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 blah. But the point that I'm getting at here is that there's very, very little material on this test that you haven't already seen. Yes, we're going to have to relearn some formulas, but the GRE doesn't go anywhere near topics that come up on, say, the SAT or ACT, like trigonometry or difficult quadratic questions. One word here about data analysis. This is the one area where you might have some content gaps. However, if you've taken a college-level stats course, you'll be totally fine. Data analysis questions have to do with charts and graphs, but generally what they are arithmetic, algebra, and geometry questions represented a little differently in charts and graphs. The verbal section. Verbal questions can really be broken down into 2 types, reading and vocab, but I want to get a little more specific here. The reading questions come in 2 flavors. There's reading comprehension, so that's your traditional run-of-the-mill read a passage and answer questions about it. But then there are also these questions called critical reasoning questions or argument analysis questions. On these questions, you're given an argument and asked to analyze its logic. Now, technically, ETS counts this as a reading question, but the strategies are so unique on critical reasoning questions that they really require their own moment in the spotlight. So for that reason, they're going to get a whole module in our course. Vocab. I realize that this might be the area that you're stressing most about. And let me just say this. The vocab questions aren't all about knowing fancy vocabulary words. It certainly doesn't hurt to have a large vocabulary, but these questions are much, much more about the logic of sentences. So what can you be doing now to study for vocab? Well, here's what I would recommend. Get yourself a nice big free set of flashcards for vocab. And then maybe for an hour a week, you just read them. Don't worry so much about memorizing all the words, just expose yourself to a lot of words. As we're going to see when we get to the vocab section, very often just having a sense of a word, whether it's positive or negative, is enough. Once you've gone through that free set of vocab flashcards several times, get a new set and keep repeating the process.